There are obviously daily frustrations in just about anybody's life, I suppose. Some people have more frustrations than others. Some people have rarely any kind of frustration, and it's only trivial when it does occur. Other people's lives are frustration every minute of every day. And part of that thoughts about that is how do you get through that. Okay, like I was having frustrations last week with this microphone not working, the camera microphone, or the cord going out, and there's something wrong. It's something screwing up in this computer, where it'll record for a little while, and then it starts getting all wobbly and staticky, making these weird noises out of the speakers. In fact, there, I just muted the speakers, so it's still making the crackly noises, but it's not recording, at least onto this, and I'm not hearing it while I'm talking to distract me. Yeah, I got stuff. I guess I got something that needs to be fixed in the computer itself, and probably something with the wires of this webcam, and partly because of the way I hold it in my hand as a microphone instead of just having it stationary on top of a monitor where you never touch the wire. So the wires are a little fragile, I think. Anyhow, that kind of... So, yeah, those frustrations, but as a result of those frustrations, I had to end up going to look in my box full of different things like headphones and microphones and mouses, all those electronics things in there. And in the course of doing that, I found a couple things that I didn't even realize I had, like that other microphone that was a hands-free thing. And then yesterday, for no particular reason that I can tell, or this morning, I plugged this old webcam back in just because I couldn't get the picture of the pony on without the cam connected. And it starts working, and it was a better quality of audio than the hands-free one. The hands-free one isn't quite as clear, as a good quality of recording my voice as this. So if this one works, I'm going to rather use it. So that's about frustrations, and the other thing is that when you're feeling these frustrations, sometimes it all involves not being able to think very clearly, because then after a while you suddenly realize, you suddenly realize, oh, wait a second, I had another microphone, that it was right there, and why didn't I think of that? Why was my mind kind of in a fog? When you get frustrations, it puts your mind, your just sort of like rational, the word I'm trying to think of? Rational thinking of just, practical. Like a rational, practical type of thinking process. That just how to do something, not thinking about values or concepts, but just how to get something done. And frustrations can kind of put your mind in a bit of a fog, so that something that should have been obvious, it was like right in front of your face. Why did you spend weeks or months or years without it occurring to you, like it should have hit you in the face? And that's the thing. I've been, certainly in the last 2 years, I've been in this situation where I was kind of in a fog because of, I guess, what you call emotionally. Seems to, when there's just too much going on with garbage, just really bad things in your life, it makes it harder to think clearly like that, to think in those practical terms. And you can have a problem going on, and the solution's like right within, right at your arm's reach, or within, really right across the room, that you could pick it up at any time, and it's sitting there staring in the face, and you go on for struggling with something for months or years, until one day finally the fog clears. The fog just, evaporates, and then suddenly there it is in your face, and it's like, oh, Yeah, of course. Why didn't I see it? It was so obvious all along. Why didn't it? And the only reason explanation I can give is there's this fog. There's this mental fog. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you're stupid. It doesn't mean you're not thinking clearly. But it means that there's visibility limits to your mind. It's like when there's a fog, they have, well, what are the limits of visibility? And the heavier the fog, the shorter the limits. But then when the fog, when it's gone and you got clear weather, well, then you can see for miles and miles. So I've been experiencing that the last couple or several days. The things that suddenly the fog clears and, oh yeah, there it is right in my face. There's a solution. Now, why didn't I think of that before? For instance, yesterday, there I was struggling to try to get some cords that I could attach to the back, to the audio output of this cassette player, and to attach speakers to the cassette player. I know that this cassette player works. First of all, the thing that didn't occur to me until like yesterday afternoon, yesterday I was at Walgreens and I was looking at behind the counter where they've got like photographic and electronics, things like cameras and speakers. I was thinking, well, maybe if they have some cheap speakers here at Walgreens, I can spend $5, even $10 and get speakers to get my cassette player working. And then it'd be there, and I think they had maybe $10 speakers there, but there were also headphones there. And somehow at that moment, suddenly it occurred to me, oh, wait a second, yes, maybe I can, even if I can't attach speakers to the cassette player, maybe I can at least listen through headphones. Why didn't that even occur to me? Because I wasn't thinking in those terms. I had a plan. My plan was to get speakers attached to the cassette player, so I could use it as a cassette player with speakers, a sound system in my room. And at no point did I stop and think, well, what about using headphones? Didn't occur. What about the fact that there's a headphone jack on the front of this thing? I wasn't thinking about the front of the thing. I was thinking about the audio outputs on the back and how to get wires that would fit to the audio output connectors on the back. So then I came back from Walgreens and I picked up I picked up all the headphones that I had in the box and and I found one that works perfectly fine. It's perfectly good working headphones, lightweight, and I plugged it into the front and it worked. And I said, why didn't I think of that before? So I spent several hours listening to some cassette tapes through the headphones, which was a lot better than nothing. And I even kind of ended up falling asleep almost with the headphones on. And then only later in the evening, when I was still trying to work on how to get this, this is a little inconvenient having to wear headphones, still trying to figure out how to get at some moment I was just looking at it, and then it suddenly occurred to me, wait a second, the headphone jack is exactly the same as the speaker jack, the jacks from the speakers on my computer speakers. And all of a sudden, that was the solution right in my face. Plug the computer, and I tried, so I said, I better try. I plugged the computer speakers jack into the headphones jack on the cassette player, and it worked. It gives you stereo. By putting one plug in, you get stereo coming out, just as you do with the headphones with only one jack. And yet, when you try to attach speakers on the back of this same machine, you've got to have one wire for the left speaker and one wire for the right speaker. But out of the headphones, you got stereo coming out of one jack. And so that was a solution. I found I had a spare pair of computer speakers that had the same jack and I plugged it in, and it worked fine. And it was like, wow, all this time I was struggling with this. Even before, for like at least 2 or 3 months, when I had this cassette player here, and I was planning to try to get around at some point to attach to finding speakers that I could attach to it, and it was always more of a project than I had the energy to face. So I put it off, and this thing just sat on the floor, unusable, just without speakers, because I just didn't have the emotional energy to try to get started on this project of sorting through all these electronics bits to try to find something that I could attach with a speaker. And the solution was so simple all along, the whole time that it was sitting on the floor, and I was putting off this idea of trying to splice wires to go to the speakers and things like that. All I needed to do was plug a silly little computer speakers jack right into the thing, and there it would work. It was right there the whole time in my face. Okay, so that's a lot longer talking about that subject, but anyhow, than I wanted. But it's not the only thing that I've been experiencing, this sense of the fog lifting and things becoming obvious. Another thing was the dissolving of the vitamin C. All you have to do is get some hot water, just like put a bowl or a cup of water in the microwave for a minute or two, and it gets very hot. Doesn't have to go to a boil. A minute or two at most. Then drop however many vitamin C pills you want into that water. Let it sit for 10-15 minutes. They will dissolve. Then you take that water with the vitamin C dissolved into it and add some tang to it. Add some powdered tang to it. All the problems you think you have with taking vitamin C and how tart it is, no problem. You're just drinking it with the tang. You'll never notice anything. It's just it's just so obvious. So once you see it, it's like it's so obvious that that's the obvious solution. Just dissolve the vitamin C and mix it with tang, and you got the healthiest drink that ever had. That you drink that if you drink 8 or 10 or even more vitamin C pills each day dissolved in tang in that manner, you'll have 10 to 20 grams, 10 to 20,000 milligrams or 10 to 20 grams of vitamin C each day, and you will be healthy. And I think it's affecting me already. I think that the amount of vitamin C that I'm able to increase my daily take now, just from this obvious solution of how to take it so easily, I think it's improving my brain, my mental clarity. I think it's reducing my feelings of having a headache and increasing my feelings of mental clarity and being able to see obvious solutions and feeling pretty good. Being able to feel okay, that's all. That vitamin C will help you feel okay. So, I'm sure there's other situations where there's like, oh, this is an obvious, why didn't I think of this obvious thing? And you didn't for a while, but those are the ones I can think of right off the top of my head right now, is dissolve the vitamin C, and then, after having dissolved the vitamin C in hot water, and the water maybe cools down, or doesn't have to, mix powdered tang in it. Obvious solution. You don't have speakers on your cassette player? Obvious solution is plug computer speakers into the headphone jack. There it is, right in your face. Obvious solutions, and that's the way the world is. For instance, thinking about solar-powered cars. Obvious solutions. Obvious solution is to have a garage with solar panels on the roof, so that it becomes a charging station when you park your car in at night. or whenever you park your car in, it will charge from the electricity stored from the solar panels on the roof of the garage. It's obvious solution, obvious. And that's about it for now. Thanks for listening. That's all.